systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday night. I said I was going to do a new intro. I did, I think, 2 weeks ago, but week off has me all messed up. We're ready for some fights, but man, this is not the card I wanted to come back to for some fights. 100K up top, always good to see for DFS, but my magic number 12, we're at 11. Very tough in the GPP streets to not hold hands with a bunch of people. However, if you're looking for a little bit of good news, no favorite above minus 400. I think plenty of live dogs. I think you can leave 1,000 plus if you want, especially in the larger field stuff, to try and get different on this tough 11 fight card. But Apex, 6:30 Eastern, it looks like. How we doing, Big Marley?
Yeah, good. Be better if the Pacers get a win here tonight, but not the best card to come back to. If we can make it a winner, though, I'll be happy about it. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it for DFS, actually. I don't know. I'm planning on playing a little bit lighter, but I'm not sure. I'm going to go in and make some lineups. I'll try and fade as many people as I possibly can and try and narrow down my player pool to narrow down the possible lineups I can really make. And hopefully I end up with, 20 to 50 range, but ideally closer to that 20.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough. And then whenever you do have a second, I just saw your Vieira Chason. If you want to individually put the stars on there, again, no rush. But before you forget. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Broad slate overview again. 11 fights, tough. You can, if I was playing 100 teams, which I probably will not be, I would include all 22 fighters in my pool. There's absolutely no doubt about that because it's a game theory card. So even the fighters, if we don't like them, they're going to be low owned. It's MMA. It's high variance, high volatility. If they are on the winner at 8%, that's how you see less than 5 dupes, less than 10, etc. So I wrote it right away in the slate plan. This is 80% game theory for me, 20% I know fights on a type of week like this. So we'll go bottom to top like usual. Hope we can find some spots to attack. Again, roster construction, the biggest thing on this card, though. Again, like button, subscribe button. Also helps us out a ton. And again, if you do want to join the nation, DGen75, shout out DGen, RIP. DGen75 is the code, usually $99. Use that code DGen75. Take $75 off your first month. Only $24 for your first month. Less than $1 a day gets you all of our content. Also gets you Saber Sim. Also gets you the best Discord around. We would love to have you. By far the best deal. All right, bottom to top. Again, this is going to be not a great card, especially these first couple fights. But the first one, Ryan Dos Santos taking on Alice Ardelene, minus 265, Dos Santos, plus 225 is Ardelene. Second most likely fight to go the distance on the card at minus 375. And it is actually the greatest. I apologize. The other women's fight, Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chason, is the second most likely. This fight, the most likely to go the distance, minus 375. Dos Santos plus 325 inside the distance. Ardelene plus 900. Yeah, you have it a 1-star, 20 teams or less. I am not touching this fight. But again, it's going to be super, super low owned. If one of these two were to be on the winner, there's a lot better chance at 15 less, sub 15 dupes than if this fight isn't on the winner, the Vieira fight's not on the winner, etc. So by no means do I think you fade 20 teams or less make stands. 100 teams, play everyone, hope to get the right optimal. In a vacuum, this is the worst fight on the card. Looks like you agree, Big Marley. You're only 1-star. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, most likely just trying to hit X on both sides. For sure going to X out Dos Santos, but maybe all-ass Ardelene makes it into my lineups just because she's $6,900. There's only 11 fights on the card. Maybe she ends up on the optimal lineup with a loss. Oh, and she's even live to win, with like a 60-point win here. I think that Dos Santos is kind of better everywhere, but she's not a high-volume striker to really put a stamp on rounds when it's a striking match, and I do think this will mainly play out on the feet. If that's the case, Ardelene can keep it close. just based on volume alone, I think she's more sloppy, but judges don't know what they're watching anyways. Ardelene could mix in a takedown or two, but I really think that Dos Santos is a much better grappler than her. So it'd probably be a bad idea for her to do that. And if Dos Santos has any chance to be on the optimal lineup, she should be looking to wrestle early, maybe get an early submission, and she could make it at low ownership, but I'm just not going to take my chances there. I'll X her out, leave Ardelene in the pool, just have her projected really low so that she only makes lineups that aren't going to leave much salary on the table. But I think that Dos Santos wins probably 2 or 3 rounds on the cards, and she gets like 65, 70 points in the process. So I'm just going to X this one out, but I'll ask Ardelene will be my preferred play of the two.
Yeah. I don't even know my preferred play. Probably her because of the salary relief. Like, I think if anyone were to wrestle, I think it'd be Dos Santos, but she'd have to really wrestle. Like, she can have a dominant win, score 90, and that not even be close at 9,300. So Ardelene probably my preferred play. The reason I don't like this fight, even the Ardelene side, is I think we see dogs win. Like, I would be surprised. Like, if you told me Ardelene scored 60, of course I would want some at 6,900. It does a lot for your team, but I don't even know if I would say it's above 50% chance to be optimal. Maybe. I don't know. I like a lot of dogs on this card, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And a lot more dogs. Almost every single dog has a lot more upside than Ardelene on this one. So, yeah, I think I'm going to just fade it in 20 entry and below. Again, it's a low-owned fight, but 14%, 15% combined ownership. If it busts, that always adds up a long way. So, yeah, really bad fight to start the card. Next fight on the card, Blanchfield taking on Michael Aswell. So as you see right here, the pricing, 8,900 usually aligns with 7,300. So Michael Aswell took this fight yesterday on Wednesday. It was supposed to be Markel Medeiros. Blanchfield out is Medeiros, in is Aswell. So days notice he's taking this fight, making his UFC debut. He's 10-2, only 24 years old. 5 wins by KO, 5 by decision, both losses by decision. He seems like a guy that'll fight for your dollar. I'm curious to hear your takes on this. I won't be playing Aswell in 20 and below. I think Blanchfield is actually good. He's a solid striker. Then to fight him on just days notice, I think it's a tall task for Aswell. Oki, he looks good, but I do prefer Reese. I do prefer Blanchfield in a vacuum, but they're going to be higher owned. You could easily save 300, 200 as a direct pivot. Like, imagine fading the main event or building a Blanchfield team, doing it, dropping Blanchfield to Oki. That's the way I'll be looking to get different on a card like this. So Oki thinks a solid play. How much do you like him compared to others in the upper tier? Are you in agreement you are not playing Aswell? You're on mute.
I'm not positive. I'm not going to play Aswell. I'm going to try not to play Aswell, though. And Oki is going to be one of my favorite plays on the slate. I didn't see enough Aswell film yet to be sure that I'm going to fade him. He was in that one Dana White's Contender Series fight close to a year ago. Yeah, wild fight. He landed a ton of strikes in that one. And I think that if he's going to win this fight, it has to be a similar type of fight where he just turns it into a brawl, wins based on volume alone, because that's really the only shot I give him. I think that Oki's more dangerous, a lot more powerful with his strikes. And if he wants to wrestle here, I think that'd be really smart of him. Take Aswell out of his game, and Oki's the better wrestler, and he could be able to just dominate minutes on the ground, possibly land 2 to 8 takedowns in this fight. So I'll get a lot of Oki, most likely fading Aswell, but that could change after I watch another fight or two. And if it does, I'll put it in my notes over at Shipping Nation.
Yeah, makes some sense. Again, MMA right here. MMA, fight rankings, all Big Marley stuff. Tier rankings, I do Slate Plan. I do Core Report, both Big Marley and I, if you want to see it. Also, more education, MMA. Big Marley and I talked an hour and a half, everything you need to know about MMA. Set if you're going for qualifiers, large field, small field, cash games, everything you need to know. More education, hour and a half talking some MMA. If you want to join. Hopefully there you go. There's Big Marley. He's back. All right. We'll take it to the next fights. This one should be pretty solid. Expected to finish minus 160. Andreas Gustoson is making his UFC debut, taking down Trevett Giles. Plus 141 is Giles. Minus 170 for this fight to finish. Gustoson plus 100 inside the distance. Giles plus 375. Take it away. What are you doing in this one?
I'm okay with both sides of this fight. I think that this is one where Giles is a live dog, but he's playing for probably like a 10x type of range. And then Gustoson is he's kind of like the wild guy. He's the one I expect to go out there, be the one pushing forward, landing volume, setting the pace early, and just trying to take Giles' head off. And he's the one that has the ceiling because of that. If he can't take Giles' head off in the first round, he can score 100 to 120 something points, I think. Giles doesn't have that in his game, but if he can not get his head knocked off in the first round, I think he's live to win this fight. I think the longer it goes, the more Gustafson's likely to slow down. Giles could just turn it into a technical striking match on the feet. Volume would probably be fairly close, especially over the last half of the fight with Giles catching up. And I also think that Giles is the better wrestler in this one, more likely to land takedowns. So I'm not against either side here. I'm guessing I'll have more on the ceiling side with Gustoson. I'll take him to get the knockout. I feel like this would be a fight that the UFC wants him to win. Giles hasn't looked good in like 4 years or something at this point. And Gustafson's a fun guy who is out there looking to be violent. So I think the UFC likes that, wants to get him a win here. And if he can, it'll be a nice highlight reel TKO most likely. And then we can come out and fade him in the next fight as a favorite, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Gustafson's going to be in a lot of fun fights. He looks like a killer, be-killed fighter. A lot of marching forward, power in his hands. And usually Trevin Giles fights, I don't love targeting because he can be low volume, as you see, 3.17 significant strikes per minute, a little over 1 takedown per 15. He just doesn't really do much. But I think Gustafson's going to force him to do something, which makes me like Giles' upside. I also think he's going to be low owned. We're going to get to Billy Ray Goff, another mispricing, 8,300. He was supposed to fight someone else. So he's going to be extremely popular in the mid-tier. Then I do think Gustoson, it's easy to play him and jam the mid-tier plus 100 to finish. I think he's higher owned than Giles. So this is the game theory part I'm talking about. I can build any Gustoson team, drop down, play Giles, leave 600 plus. And that could take you from a 70 dupe team to a 7 dupe team, something like that. Like I'm totally plus 141, very solid money line. Plus 375 inside the distance, very solid. Again, I think Gustafson's going to make Giles fight. So he does have upside in my opinion. Also, Trevin Giles, been really bad for him. His last 5 losses, though. Listen to this. Mike Malott, Carlos Prates, Gabriel Bonfim, Michael Morales, DDP. I mean, come on. How many Gustafson's losing to all those dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like 99% of people are losing all those dudes. The worst guy on that list, I guess you can argue Mike Malott or Bonfim. They're both killers. Like they're big favorites against Gustafson here. So I don't know. Also seeing Giles, definitely, like he's making his 15th walk to the UFC octagon. 32 years old only. He's the younger fighter in this one with Gustafson making his debut. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. You can take it how you want. But yeah, for being able to leave 600 and do nothing with my lineup, that just makes me prefer Trevin Giles as my preferred play. And I'm going to say that about multiple dogs on this card. Again, it's 80% game theory, 20% I know fights in this one. I do like Gustoson too. When you play him, it is easy to leave money. He has 120 point upside, like Big Marley was saying. So you can plug in a Oki, drop Oki down to Gustoson. I wouldn't be surprised if he outscores him in a vacuum. There's 500 savings right there. So little things like that I'd be looking to do on this card.
Yeah.
What's up, Mark? What's up, Grant? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what determines the times for the 8-pack. 6:30 Eastern. I have not seen anything about this. I don't know if Big Marley has. Trevin Giles retiring.
No, I was just searching Twitter to see if I could find anything on that. If I did see that, I would like him less.
Me too. I was searching too. I haven't seen anything about that though. I think he was just like, man, he's lost so many times as he's finally time.
Okay.
What's going on, Grant? Hope you're doing well. Ready for some fights. All right, let's keep it going. Again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Next fight on the card, Jordan Levit, minus 240, taking on Kurt Halaba, plus 205, plus 120 for this fight to finish. Levit, plus 240 inside the distance. Halaba, plus 325. A lot of line movement in this one. So, Big Marley, I put these up on Tuesday, these odds. Jordan Levit was minus 180. So, now he's minus 240. Jordan Levit opened this fight on minus 120. So, minus 120. He's taken money ever since. Tuesday, he was minus 180. Now, Thursday, we're talking he's minus 240. I was already on the Levit train, and I think why it's pretty clear. Kurt Halaba just doesn't have takedown defense. 39% it's sitting at. Jordan Levit wants to wrestle. Jordan Levit secures takedowns. He stays safe on top. He wins the fight. That's how I see it. I think that's how the bettors are seeing it. How does that do you see it like that? And if so, or even if not, how does that translate for DFS and upside at 8,700?
Yeah, I mean, Halaba's big weakness is being taken down, just being put on his back and not having anything to do once he's there. And that's what Levit has to do here because he's not a good striker. If this is a striking match, Halaba is going to win, and he could knock Levit out. But Levit has to go for takedowns. If the first 4 fail, he's got to keep going for them. And once he lands one, he could probably keep the fight on the ground for the rest of the round and just grind out minutes. I don't know that that's great for him. I think we would prefer a submission. I don't even know if Halaba's been submitted, but just him being in bad positions on the ground, I feel like he's live to be subbed in any round by Levit here. On the ground, if Levit gets 1 takedown per round, not going to be enough. If Halaba can work his way back to the feet and then Levit can start racking up some more takedowns, I think he can get there. But at $8,700, I'm not in love with it. I'll probably be around the field, not get too high, too low. And then Halaba, I do think, is a live dog who could score around 10x in a decision win. More if he just stuffs all the takedowns and it's a 3-round striking match decision. But I think he's live for a knockout here to score 100 plus points. So I'll get over the field on Halaba in DFS, but I'm picking Levit to win. I feel like my most unimpressiveness, it's either Halaba off his back or Levit striking. But Halaba off his back has been so bad lately that I picked Levit to win 2 rounds just based on that alone. So Levit's the pick to win. Halaba's my preferred play if I had to play just one of them.
That's fair. Levit's still my preferred play. I love the line movement. I really think, and I do think Halaba gets some ownership. Like will be popular. There's enough dogs. I think we're going to get to this next. Rafael Feel, 7,800. Like people are going to, or 7,600, excuse me, way better money line. So just for 100 more, you're getting like, what is it? He's my plus 129 plus 2. You're getting like 80 cents of juice, 75 cents, just paying 100 more on the money line. So I think Halaba's ownership should stay in check. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I think both these guys' ownership will stay in check. Levit, my preferred play. Halaba, Big Marley's. But like Big Marley was saying, who's more likely for a knockout? Halaba. He's plus 525 by KO. Levit plus 1,200. Who's more likely to win by sub? Levit plus 275 by sub. While his inside the distance is plus 240, which shows almost all of his finish equity by submission. I mean, the dude throws absolute pillows for punches, so there's no surprise there. Halaba plus 800 by sub. All right, we'll keep it going. Next fight on the card. Just talked about it. Same price range, so very easy segue. Alan Nasimento minus 149. Rafael Felo plus 129, plus 105 for this fight to finish. Nasimento plus 275 inside the distance. The small dog, Felo, better inside the distance prop by a little bit at plus 250. Talk about line movement, plenty in this one. Nasimento on May 9th opened minus 275. Later that day on May 9th, he was minus 125. It's a lot of line movement the book got wrong to start. The line stayed around the minus 125 mark for a while, got down to minus 175 again. That was last week. And then slowly but surely money has came in on the Felo side. It should be great for DFS. 1.55 takedowns per 15, 1.77 for Felo. I don't see how this fight stays on the feet for more than 3 minutes at a time, which I guess is a lot of time when I think about it. But how much do you think this fight plays out on the mats? Are you going to jam it a lot? You both have this fight and the last fight is 3 stars. So which one do you prefer?
Man, see, this is the one I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do with this fight because if it's a striking match, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
And if it's a grappling match, it's got good potential, but it could also just be so back and forth that the winner ends up not scoring well.
Scrambles for days if it's back and forth. The reversals add up on DraftKings.
So, yeah, it would be a 4-star if you told me that this is going to play out on the feet. It's a 1-star.
On the mat,
I'm sorry, on the mat. Yeah, it's a 1-star if it plays out on the feet. But I just don't really have any real lean in this fight. I think if it's a striking match, it's going to be close. I don't really have any edge in this one. Maybe Nasimento just based on aggressiveness, and then neither one of them are great wrestlers either, but they're both great grapplers. So I don't know if the danger of the other's grappling is going to cancel out the wrestling. I just don't know how this one's going to play out. So it's between a 2-star and a 4-star for me. And the way I think I'm going to go about it is just I'll be heavier on the underdog side, since I do think it's closer to a 50-50 fight. I'd rather save that $1,000. I'll be somewhat heavy on Philho. And then Nasimento, I'll just toss into some lineups. I would guess I am underweight to the field on him, though, because there are other favorites I would rather get up to. But I do think this could be a really fun fight if it does play out on the mat.
For sure. There's no doubt Nasimento is going to be like a pivot in that range. I'm looking at ownership right now. Gamrot's definitely higher owned. Gustoson's higher owned. Billy Ray's definitely going to be higher owned. Yeah, I think him and Levit will probably be similar. People probably going to prefer Levit for the money line value, though. Nasimento's a pivot for me. I like this fight a lot. Probably one of my favorite fights talking DFS. The reason for that, actually, let me start with this. You're saying who has the advantage on the feet, who has the advantage on the mat. Just look at numbers. It would seem that Felo has the advantage on the feet. He's plus 400 to win by, let me get that right. Plus 450 to win by KO, whereas Nasimento's plus 1,300. So 3 times more likely to get a KO is Felo than Nasimento. You go to the submission, Nasimento plus 350, Felo plus 700. Both of them have taken money. So it looks like books think Nasimento the better grappler, Felo the better striker. Both are known as primary grapplers. I mean, what Felo, when he had that knee bar on Makayev, how he somehow didn't tap, like both these grapplers are absolutely legit. So if it plays out on the mat a ton, reversals, top control, domination on one side for 15 minutes. Like I like this fight more than the last fight, just hoping it plays out on the mat a ton. The case for Felo, easy to build a Nasimento team, drop Nasimento to Felo, leave the 1,000, easy work. You're hardly giving up anything. The reason to play Nasimento is he's a pivot in that upper tier with the solid inside the distance prop, with grappling and takedown upside. He has as much upside as anyone too at very, very fair ownership. So yeah, I think more I'm talking about it, looking at ownership, how this fight can play out, plus 105 to finish. I'm going to have a lot of this fight. Very well might be overweight on both sides. I like this one. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. By far the most likely fight to finish on the card. Zachary Reese, minus 235, taking on Dusko Toddorovich, plus 200. Minus 600 for this fight to finish. Minus 200 for Reese. Inside the distance, Toddorovich, plus 290 inside the distance. Reese in round 1, plus 140. Toddorovich in round 1, plus 500. Both of those have taken money. Reese to opening, Reese in round 1, plus 215. Now plus 140. That's a lot of line movement. Toddorovich in round 1, open plus 700. Now plus 500. That's a lot of line movement. How do you not jam this fight a bunch? You have it at 5-star, so I take it you will be doing so.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best fights, if not the best fight on the card to target. Toddorovich not looked great lately. Reese looks like a one-round killer at times. He also looked decent in that 3-round fight a couple fights back, but that was against a complete scrub. I think Dusko's a tougher matchup than that. But Dusko's chin might not be there, and Reese does have power. So I think Reese is very live to score 115, 120 points on this card with a first-round knockout. I do think he's more skilled, more dangerous. But after round 1, I think it could end up getting close. If the danger's not there on the Reese side, I think minute to minute, this could be close on the feet, or either one of them could look to mix in takedowns after round 1. So I'm fine mixing in Toddorovich exposure, just kind of a shot out there, thinking Reese is maybe not all he's cracked up to be, and we haven't seen him go long into fights other than once. So I'll be super heavy on this fight. I don't know that I'm going to say all in, but if I was making 10 lineups, I'm all in. If I'm making 20 lineups, I'm probably close to all in, 18, 19, 20 lineups. And I would guess, if I had 150 and I was all in, I would probably be around 75, 25, something like that. On Reese
I wouldn't
side.
mind being 50-50.
Oh, wow.
Toddorovich is my preferred side if I have to pick. What I say right at the beginning, it's a game theory card, 80% for me. It's I know fights, 20%. you can do a lot when Toddorovich wins. You can leave 1,000. No, you're not giving up any upside. Like, if he wins, he can easily win in the first round. He can win whatever. Like, upside the same. If he wins, 7,000 opens up the whole world. If Zachary Reese puts up 125, I think it's going to be a lot less likely you're going to see 10 or less dupes on the winner. He's 9,200. That just bleeds you into the same roster construction. Okay, then Blanchfield Barber is probably optimal. Reese with one of those two chalky people. Oh, now Billy Ray Goff at 8,300 is the biggest favorite. It's optimal. Now you're holding hands with 100 people. So if Toddorovich wins, it's so much easier for me to think I can win with 5 less, 10 less, and give up no upside. So that's the only reason. The salary difference, money line's very fair. Plus 200. Like, how many times do we see a plus 200 underdog win? All the time. Toddorovich is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Now, I like Reese too. Like, on a normal 13 fight card, he might be one of the best plays on the slate. He still is. It just ownership means so much more, and he's so high owned. You get the leverage with Toddorovich. You get the upside. You get the cheapie. You just get the whole world when you play this guy. More times than not, you're probably going to get 4 DK points and be pissed. But when you get 104, that's when you win how much you win. I think it's a lot easier to win a lot playing Dusko this week. So that's how I got it.
I like it. Yeah, I don't think I could go 50-50, but I could definitely be talked. I think you probably talked me into like a 60-40 Reese favor.
And you'd be way overweight Toddorovich. There's no doubt about that at 40%. All right, we'll keep it moving. Next fight on the card, second women's fights. And again, I mentioned the most likely to go the distance. This first one, Vieira Chason, the second most likely fight to go the distance on the card. Chason minus 125, Vieira plus 105. Minus 300 for this fight to go the distance. Vieira plus 415 inside the distance. Chason plus 450. So as you can notice, 8,200 Vieira, 8K Chason. But Chason's the favorite for 200 less. This fight open, minus 125 Vieira, plus 105 Chason. It's been back and forth all over. Chason the biggest favorite now that she's been at minus 125. I do not like this fight. Again, if I'm playing 100 teams, every single person's in the pool. Both girls, I guess I'm going to throw it to you. Like, can Chason get a takedown? Vieira has very good takedown defense. Can Vieira get takedowns? Chason 70%, not bad. Takedown defense either. That's what I need in this fight. We need wrestling. We need a finish. Do you see it getting finished? Do you see either side having a lot of success wrestling?
No, I definitely don't think we get a finish here. And the wrestling is what I'm not sure about. Either side could have success wrestling. And that's why I have it as a 2 stars, because I wouldn't be shocked if the winner scored 90 points in this fight. But I want to play it as if it was a 1 star. Like, I just don't have any interest because I don't know who the winner is going to be. It could also stay stuck on the feet, either striking or pushed against the cage for too long where it's not going to score well. And then with the wrestling, neither one of them are great grapplers, but it's just more whoever gets on top is going to win that round. The one on bottom is not going to have anything to offer. So whoever gets that takedown is going to grind out minutes for however long that round lasts, most likely. And I just don't know who that's going to be. On the feet, I would say Chason's going to be the higher volume striker. Vieira's hitting harder. But yeah, I have no idea who's going to win this fight. So I just don't want to play it. And I would say my preferred play is just going to be Vieira because I have her as lower owned right now. She's $200 more, harder to get to. But I'll try to get away from this fight as much as I possibly can. But I'm not going to exit out of my player pool. And it could be just one of my lower owned fights that ends up making it into the optimal on one of my weirder looking lineups.
I think 20 teams or less. I always try to have 4 fades. If I were to have 4, I think both these girls would be a fade. Like, you're parlaying getting the winner right in a very close fight and it being optimal and the second most likely to go the distance on the card. Again, with all that being said, there's only 11 fights. It's pretty concentrated. If one of these two are on the winner, there's a lot better chance at a lot less dupes than 100 plus, something like that. It's a clear pivot in the mid-tier. There's not many pivots on this card. Easy pivot in the mid-tier. Billy Ray Goff will be one of the highest owned on the slate. Mateus Gamrot, going to get plenty of ownership. And then, of course, we just talked about Gustoson Giles. Definitely will get more ownership than this fight. So if this fight were to be optimal, yeah, you're looking real good if you have them at low ownership. Again, 20 teams or less, though. I'd rather play Toddorovich and leave $1,200 on this card than I would play a Chason or a Vieira. So leaving money That is how I'll be getting different more so than playing this fight, playing the first fight, which will be low owned, but I think for a reason. Wow. Okay. Liver kick finish. I will definitely remember that, Mark, if that is what happens. The liver kick finish.
Yeah.
All right. 4 fights left. Next fight. Dustin Jacobe, minus 200. Bruno Lopez, plus 170. Minus 150 for this fight to finish. Jacobe, plus 150 inside the distance. Lopez, plus 275. So, Jacobe, former kickboxer, definitely think he has the advantage on the feet. Throws solid volume, but probably needs a knockout in the first 2 rounds, if I had to guess. Bruno Lopez, he throws hard, but if anyone's going to mix in takedowns, we saw it against Godzilla last fight. Lopez is the one to do so. Do you think Lopez can have success getting takedowns? Can he control Jacobe if he gets on top? How live is he on the feet? What are you doing for DFS?
I am going to be more so on the Lopez side for DFS. I think Jacobe is just a better, more technical striker. If this does stay on the feet, he probably wins all 3 rounds. Going to be higher volume, landing better, crisper shots, and he is live for a TKO. And it could even be one where he's got 70 strikes along the way and then gets a TKO. So not a bad play on the Jacobe side, but just not somebody I'm really loving to click on. Lopez on the other side, if it's a striking match, they're big boys. He could get a knockout if it stays standing, but he should be looking to wrestle here. If you can land, 2 to 4 takedowns in this fight, then you're live to win a decision in this one. I think he could do that. So I don't feel good about picking him to win, but at $7,400, I would just much rather save that $1,400 and pick Lopez as my preferred play. I'll go overweight to him, underweight to Jacobe, but I'll get exposure to both sides.
Talk about another pivot, kind of like I mentioned with Nasimento. Dustin Jacobe, there's no doubt he's a pivot in the upper tier. You're going to see Reese higher owned, Blanchfield higher owned, Oki higher owned, all for more expensive. You're going to see Levit higher owned, Gamrot higher owned, Gustoson higher owned, Billy Ray Goff, all higher owned for cheaper. So plus 145 or plus 150 to finish, plus 350, 375 in round 1. What do we got? What's plus 375? About 25% roughly. Boom, boom, boom. 21%. That's right now we have pretty much the same ownership as we have projected for Jacobe. It is round 1 prop. Anytime I see that, I will probably be at least with the field, if not overweight Jacobe on a way to get difference. Love what you said, though. Lopez probably my preferred play because you can, again, build a Jacobe lineup, go down to Lopez. It's scary, 100%. This is flagship stuff when you're trying to win a solo 100 or something like that. He's only plus 170 inside the distance. Great inside the distance, or he's only plus 170 on the money line, and his inside the distance is good at plus 275. It opened plus 285. So if he's 26% chance to win this fight, his ownership will be something like that. Or he's 26% to win inside the distance. If we know that, and his ownership's about that, you can leave 1,000 so easily. That's why I talked about beginning of this card. We're going to get to Brahimage. I think you can leave money with him. You can leave money with Lopez. He has upside. You can leave money with Toddorovich. You can leave money with Felo. You can leave money with Halaba if you like him. He has upside. You can leave money with Trevett and Giles. I don't love these two, but so many people you can. You can leave money with Macy Barber when we get there at 7,100. So the dogs I think are live that have upside, which is all those people I listed, easily can leave 600 plus. And again, I would not hate in the big $18, whatever it is this week. Will the Jacobe team drop down to Lopez? If Lopez wins, yeah, you can solo ship on a slate like this. So that's how I see it. I think Jacobe's a fine pivot up top. Lopez, a good play down low for some upside. 3 fights left. Billy Ray Goff, minus 360, taking on Ramiz Brahimage, plus 285, minus 215 for this fight to finish. Goff, minus 115 inside the distance. Brahimage, plus 335. So only 2 fighters favored to finish this week. We have Billy Ray Goff, this one, 8,300. Zachary Reese, minus 200. In the other fight at 9,200, he's minus 200 to finish. Billy Ray Goff, why is he 8,300? Why is Brahimage 6,700? This fight was supposed to be 2 individual different fights. Billy Ray Goff was supposed to fight Goff was supposed to fight. Hold on. Who was he supposed to fight? Was it no, who was supposed to fight Jeremiah Wells? Oban Elliott was supposed to fight. Oban Elliott was supposed to fight Brahimage. Let me get this one right.
Yeah, I didn't know Goff was supposed to fight.
Both of these Sung Seko Kong Ko. Some Japanese guy or Korean, excuse me. Seo Hong Ko. He was supposed to fight. So both of them were on the card originally, fighting different people. That's why they were already in the pool with no UFC last week. They put out the people earlier. So Goff 8,300. His opponent was 7,900. Oban Elliott was the biggest favorite on the card at 9,500. Brahimage the biggest dog at 6,700. Brahimage still the biggest dog. His price doesn't move. Goff, now the biggest favorite or tied for the biggest favorite. His price didn't move. That is going to lead to Billy Ray Goff being the chalkiest, first, second, something like that on the slate. He's minus 115 to finish. He's probably the highest owned. At only 8,300, he makes everything work. It's really easy. If you're playing Billy Ray Goff, really think about what you do with the other spots of your team. I think Brahimage is an elite play this week, just like Toddorovich. Leverage off of the chalkiest fighter on the slate. You get that. Brahimage, when he wins, it's almost always in the first round. It's usually by submission. If we're looking at the props, Brahimage inside the distance, plus 335. Really good. Brahimage by sub. It goes from plus 335 there, 450 by sub. Most of the finish equity by sub. Go to round one, plus 600 for Brahimage. All of that almost is more than his ownership will be. And 50% plus of Billy Ray teams would be dead if Brahimage wins. It's one of the best fights to target. Preferred play, game theory, I'm going to say Brahimage because if he wins, you have a lot better to solo ship or win a lot more cheese than a Billy Ray wins. So what about you? What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, maybe playing a little more Brahimage than I thought I would. I do think Brahimage has one of the highest ceilings on the card for an underdog. Well, really for anybody, because his best path to victory is going to be aggressive early, go for a takedown, get Billy Ray to give up his back, and then you choke him out. And Brahimage is really good at doing that on the regional seed sometimes when he wants to come out aggressive. The problem is he doesn't always want to come out aggressive, and when he doesn't come out and start aggressive, he doesn't just turn into an aggressive fighter in the second or third round. He just stays at a slow-paced striking match, which isn't going to be good enough. Goff is going to be the better striker here. He's the better wrestler, too. So if he can stuff all the takedowns, I just think Brahimage is in trouble and probably gets knocked out at some point in this fight. But it could be a sweaty first, 1 to 3 minutes if Brahimage is looking to get a takedown right out of the gates. So I'm cool playing some Brahimage. He could come out and score 110 points at $6,700, and then it's a no Brahimage, no cash type of week, and you kill off all those Goff lineups. But at the same time, I don't trust Brahimage. I feel like he's not going to even get a single takedown, and Goff probably pieces him up en route to a TKO and scores great in the process. So I'm going to have a lot of Goff. And then I guess Brahimage will be more of a hedge than I thought he was. I think he did sell me on a little bit more of him. And I'm cool with that ceiling. I just don't think that it's very likely. I agree with the line in this one. So heavy Goff, a little bit of Brahimage.
Again, if this was a 14-fight card, my breakdown would have been a lot different than it being 11-fight card. It's an 80% game theory, 20%. Maybe it's even 90-10. Like I don't like holding hands with a million people. And that's the likely outcome on a card like this with a lot of chalk and only 11 fights. Yeah, like we just talked about it. He'll be a free square for many, but it's definitely a free square in cash. I would argue that there's definitely no such thing as a free square for tournaments in MMA. He will be the highest owned on the slate, though. Everything checks out for his price. It's just if he loses, you can get rewarded greatly. And if he loses, if I knew he wasn't optimal, like I just give me the guy who's you can have fight fades for sure. I think some fight fades are fine, but I'd rather play Brahimage than fade the fight because I want more direct leverage. I think if Billy wins, a lot of those wins are scoring well because Brahimage slows down. 2 fights left. Definitely a great one here. Big fight in the lightweight division. Big step down in competition for Mateusz Gamrot. Big step up in competition for Ludovic Klein. Minus 150 Gamrot. Plus 130 Klein. Plus 200 for this fight to finish. Klein, the underdog, plus 300 inside the distance. Gamrot plus 550. Gamrot, he will wrestle. 5.25 takedowns per 15 minutes. Klein, he can wrestle. Solid takedown defense. He's a good striker, though. That's what he's known for, particularly the high kick. What's going to win out? The wrestling in Gamrot, the striking in Klein? What are you doing in DFS?
Yeah, I'm going to side with the wrestling side because for DFS, that's better. That's going to be our higher ceiling. For Klein to just completely break the slate, it's got to be a knockout. I think he's also live to win this fight based on it being a striking match, but he gets taken down 6-7 times in the process and just can't score enough because of that. So I'm not going to get too much Klein. I do think he's live, though. But Gamrot is the guy who needs to be going for takedowns. I expect him to land 5 or more takedowns in this fight, and it could be 10 plus. So if that's the case at $8,500, I think he's going to be one of the better plays on the slate. Great pivot away from Goff as well. But I'll be heavy on Gamrot here just because his path to victory leads to a high score where Klein's may not. But I'll get exposure to both sides. I just know I'll be overweight on Gamrot, and I think he does win 2 to 3 rounds with takedown and control time.
I don't have a strong lean by any means in terms of who wins this fight. I think the line's very fair. I think Klein, it will be dangerous early. It's only 3 rounds, which favors Klein. The small cage definitely favors Gamrot. Easier to grab Klein, who likes using his distance and not want to be grabbed. What I do have a strong lean on is just my preferred play for DFS, though. Kind of like you said. I definitely Gamrot. I do not want much Klein. Again, I think he's very, very, very live to win this fight. He can win this fight and still be taken down 5 times. Gamrot, a control guy without doing much damage. Like, go look at the Jalen Turner Gamrot fight. Go look at UFC stats. So many people calling robbery that Jalen Turner won. He hardly landed anything. Gamrot hardly landed anything either, but he did get takedowns and a lot of top control. But even if Jalen Turner won that fight, he would have scored almost nothing. Like, Ludwig Klein legit could win a decision and score 50 points, 55 points. It's not likely, no, but he's probably going to get taken down. He's going to have to work his way back up. Even when it's on the feet, he's going to be worried about takedowns constantly, and that limits your offense and makes it harder to get to the optimal. So even at 7,700, I almost think he's KO or bust in this one. I prefer cheaper dogs. I prefer Brahimage. I prefer Lopez. I prefer Dusko. I prefer Felo. Probably prefer Kurt Halaba. I do. I prefer Trevett and Giles. So I don't like Klein at the end of the day much. I think he's super live to win. I think he's probably more likely than every single person I listed. But I want upside in DFS. And I guess Gamrot will be owned. There's no doubt about that. He'll be pretty high owned. I think with Goff being only 200 less, or with Goff being 200 less as a way bigger favorite and inside the distance, that it keeps Gamrot's ownership more in check. But you get some leverage when you play Klein. I still prefer Gamrot. He can get there in a decision, land 1 million takedowns. Klein will be trying to stuff him all fight, even when it's on the feet at distance. I think his volume will be a little less because he doesn't want to overextend and get taken down that way. So Gamrot, my preferred play, most definitely. Main event time. Appreciate everyone hanging with us this whole time. Hope everybody out there has fun weekend planned. Hey, just watching fights, even though it's not the greatest card, I'll be doing that. Will be a good time. Hopefully, a little more cheese in the pocket. Main event time, pretty good fight. Aaron Blanchfield minus 250, Macy Barber plus 210, plus 160 for this fight to finish. Blanchfield plus 230 inside the distance. Barber plus 530. This is a game theory one for me, Big Marley. Normal card, I'm picking Blanchfield to win. I think she eventually does get Barber down when she's on top. Blanchfield's a huge problem. She flows very nicely, can take the bag, threaten with submissions, just really, really fundamentally skilled. Barber's by far the physical advantage, the way stronger fighter. My preferred play, though, is Barber. Why is that? It's a game theory card. Same thing I said about Dusko, same thing I said about Brahimage. If Barber wins, you can leave 1,000 very easily. She has as much upside as anyone, even at 7,100. Plus 210 inside the distance isn't crazy bad. If Blanchfield wins, I think it'll be much harder to have sub 10 dupes than I think if Barber wins. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. I still think Blanchfield's a phenomenal play. I'm going to throw it to you on this. Can you make any cases where this fight isn't optimal? And I'm not saying eye poke or DQ or whatever, always in the realm of possibilities. But Can you see this fight not being optimal? And can we fade this fight? Because if neither is optimal, then you could see a solo shipper.
Yeah, I would think a striking match where Blanchfield wins could not be optimal. And I'll have lineups that don't have this fight. In case that happens, I do think that is live where there's only 1 or 2 takedowns in this entire fight and it plays out on the feet and it's nothing special if that's the case. So I'll probably have this in like 85, 90% of my lineups, but I'm definitely not making a rule to be all in. I could see it playing out very close. Really, anywhere it goes, I do give Blanchfield just a slight edge everywhere. I think she is a little bit higher on volume. I think she's more dangerous with her kicks. I think she's the better wrestler and grappler, but all of it's just by a little bit, and Barber could improve each time out. They're both young. Barber could end up having a slight volume edge at the end of this fight. She could land one more takedown than Blanchfield. I don't really see her putting on a grappling clinic, but you don't need to. At $7,100, any win from Barber should be on the optimal lineup. So this is one where I would say that my preferred play is probably Blanchfield, but if I go in and SaberSim gives me 60-40 in favor of Barber, then I'm fine with it. Maybe even 65-35 in favor of Barber. I'd probably be fine with that. I don't have a big time DFS play in this one, but I do somewhat agree with the line where Blanchfield should win this fight 7 out of 10 times or so. And if she does win, she has a good chance of scoring very well too.
Yeah, I got nothing. On a 14 fight card, I guarantee you Blanchfield is my preferred play. It just, MMA is a completely different ball game. 11 fights versus 14 is night and day. Blanchfield's going to be probably the second highest owned on the slate. Barber going to be plenty owned too. I'm not saying that. It's a lot easier to leave chunks of money on the table with Barber than it is Blanchfield, and that's something I'll be looking to do on this week's card for sure. That's all I got. Again, appreciate everyone watching live, watching on playback. Thumbs up. Always like checking the comment section too. If you got any hot takes, anything you want to say. Big Marley, I'm not sure how your Pacers are doing, but I'll let you get out of here, watch the end of that game. Any final thoughts, though, before we get on out?
Go Pacers. I mean, I saw our boy Hebrew Cheeto was at the top of the list like two Pacer games ago, I want to say, for like 22 grand or something like that.
He should have won yesterday, too.
I was about to say, I saw him up there like 24 grand with like a couple seconds left.
Isaiah Joe got his ass. So, yeah, Rio's absolutely crushing.
Yeah, he's a beast. But yeah, good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening. Hopefully it's a fun card. Hopefully we could profit and roll this money into the next one. But good luck, guys. Let's ship it.
Absolutely, yeah. Not a great card to come back on after a week off, real life or DFS. But hey, this ain't even an appetizer. We're gonna have plenty of great fights. Some are always big boy fights. I mean, I can't wait to watch Chimaev DDP. We got the rematch Marab Sugar. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. Not the most excited for that. Ilya, definitely excited to see that. I mean, so many phenomenal fights coming up. So even though this week's not great, we get fights on our screen. Violence on Saturday. NHL Stanley Cup coming up. NBA Finals. It's a good time to be alive. Good time to be a sports fan. Of course, PGA still going. NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, and NASCAR. We would really love to have you at Shipping Nation. And by far, no better deal out there. Usually $99 for all of our content. SaberSim, the best optimizer out there. And the Discord, use the code DGen75. Get you $75 off your first month. Less than $1 a day. Gets you all of that. For Big Marley, I'm Title Town. Good luck on this 11 fight slate. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Peace.